Hi, this is Cheryl McQueen, designer with Bello's Designs. This video tutorial is very simple to make, but I really believe that simple can sometimes have a very big impact. I think that beginners and experienced stampers alike will enjoy making this card. So let's take a look at the supplies that we're going to be using today. We will start out using the Lavinia Multifarious Smooth and Supreme cardstock. I have cut this one to be 6.5 inches by 4.5 inches. Then we will create a frame to go around our art card. This is just a piece of cardstock that has been cut to 6 3/4 inches by 4 3/4 inches. For the card base, I took a piece of cardstock and 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Just cut this down to be 10 inches by 7 inches, and then I just folded that in half. We're only going to use 2 stamps today. We will be using the Lavinia Spring Trees. This one is LAV 168. And then we will be using a sentiment stamp, and I've got one set that just has a whole bunch, and I'm going to be using the one that says every day may not be good, but there is something good in every day. I'm going to be using Distress inks for our background today. We will be using the dried Marigold, broken china, Peacock feathers, Wilted violet, and chipped sapphire. For our permanent ink that we're going to be using for the stamping, I have chosen to use the VersaFine Clair Nocturne. You'll also need to have some blending brushes to create our background. And we will want to go ahead and have a bottle of water on hand, a little spray bottle, so that we can create the starry effect in the background. I will also be using a stamping platform, and this is the one that I use, and you can kind of see here that I've got a sticky grid down. I don't like using magnets, so I've stuck the sticky grid down and my cards will stick to that surface. And then finally, for putting our project together, I have just chosen to use an adhesive tape here that we can roll on very easily and quickly. You can also use a paper glue if you would like to do that. Alright, so let's get started working on our project. Okay, to start out, what we're going to do is we're going to take our Lavinia Multifarious cardstock, and we're going to start out by making a circle in the very center with our dried Marigold. So I'm just going to take the dried Marigold and just put it here in the very center. You don't have to do it very dark or very solid. All you need to do is just put it down in a circle right in the center. We don't necessarily want it to be all solid. It would be nice for it to have the variation in the shades. This just helps with a little bit more natural look to it when we're doing the sky. Alright, so we've just got, if you can kind of see it there, I know it's real light, we've just got the dried Marigold right there in the very center. Next, we will move on to the broken china. And what we're going to do with the broken china is we're just going to go around the outside edge of where we've put the dried Marigold. And it's okay to have it overlap some. That will actually give it a little bit of some unique, interesting blending right on the very edge between the two colors. Alright, so now we've just kind of got that blended in a nice little light circle area. And again, it's a little hard to see because we're working with a little bit lighter colors. But then as we go along, you'll see it really coming together and popping really nice. So now we're ready to go on and work with the peacock feathers. The nice thing about the peacock feathers is this is a really nice rich color. I really like it a lot. So what we're going to do is we're again just going to go around starting on the outside edges, but we're going to go all the way to the edge of the card with this. Now sometimes when I do this, I am going to go ahead and grab like a little piece of paper towel, because sometimes I get ink on my fingers and I don't want to get it smeared and fingerprinted up, so I may just hold my card with this paper towel. And with the peacock feathers, you can do some places that are bolder in the color, really make it pop out. This will really help with the effect when we start adding our purple and our chip sapphire, because that will add to the color, the layering of the colors, and just really make it pop out. So as you're doing this and you're looking at it and you're going, well, this doesn't really look that impressive. But boy, when you start adding all the colors on top of each other, it just turns out so beautiful. So let's just get just a little bit more of the peacock feathers. All right. So if you can see there, we've got our marigold in the center, a little bit of the broken china around the outside edge, and then we have finished out the edge all the way to the edges with the peacock feathers. So now what we're going to want to do is take our wilted violet, get the wilted violet out, and with the wilted violet we just kind of want to add places. We don't want it as solid as we have done with our other colors. We're actually just going to add little areas of the ink to add a little bit of atmosphere to it. So we'll just start taking some and just add little dashes of it here and there. Alright, so I hope you can kind of see how we're just putting it randomly around, not as solid as any of the other colors, just to give a little bit of that purple in there that helps with the twilight look that we're trying to go for. And the nice thing is we can go back in and add some more later on if we really think that we need something added to it. So now we have got just a little bit of that wilted violet in there. And now we're going to come back in and we're going to take our chip sapphire. With the chip sapphire, we're going to do it in our corners and then just a little bit around the outer edges. So you can see I'm really trying to get some of that really nice dark chip sapphire there in the corners. And then we'll come down just a little bit here on the side to kind of continue that look on around the sides and the edges. Okay, so when we get to this point, then we have added all of our base colors for the beginning. Like I said, we can always go back in and add some colors, which we probably will, just to highlight some spots once we get our trees stamped in there. So now the next step that we're going to do is just take some of our water, and I just have this little distress sprayer, and I'm just going to spritz it on there and let it sit for just a moment, and then we're going to start dabbing up with a paper towel. And when we do this, this creates our nice starry effect in the background that we want. Kind of gives us that look of the midnight sky. I'm going to spritz just a little bit more in that upper corner. All right, and now we've got this really lovely starry effect. Now, if you feel like you don't want to wait until all your spots dry here, you can go ahead and take your heating tool and just give it a real quick little once over to go ahead and dry up some of that leftover water that might be around. And then I'm going to go ahead and just wipe up my surface. That way I don't get it all over my hands or all over my project as I'm working on it. So now we are ready to go ahead and start stamping. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and grab my stamping platform, and I'm going to take my piece and lay it on here. Now I'm going to go ahead and move some of my blending brushes out of the way here so I don't knock them off on the floor. And I'm going to start out with this a little bit higher up on my stamping platform because I'm going to start out on the bottom. Now the nice thing is if you kind of want to take this little piece, clear piece with the design on it that comes with your stamps, and kind of get an idea of what it might look like as you're going to lay these around, you can do that. That's a really great thing about those sheets. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little piece of scrap paper here so I don't get ink all over my sticky grid. And then I'm just going to start out at the bottom with my first stamp and just lay it straight across on the bottom. And then we will get that stamped up. And I'm going to go ahead and just ink up my stamp real quick here off screen. Just Get a nice little coating. And get a nice good pressure on there. And one of the reasons I love the stamping platform is if I don't quite get the image that I like, then I can always restamp it and not have to worry about it not lining up. All right. Now, what I'm going to do, as you can see here with this card, is I'm going to continue on around the edges. But what you're going to want to do is just slightly change your angle as you go around so that you kind of got that impression that you're just laying underneath the trees looking up at the star and the sky. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do now. It's just taking the same stamp and working our way on around the edge. Okay, and then once you get your branches all around so that it looks like you're looking up at the sky, we are done with that particular part of the stamping. Now, we can now go ahead and take our sentiment and place that here in the very center. Get that lined up. And then we will go ahead and get that stamped in. Nice even pressure. And there we go. So now, well, let's go ahead and take it off of our stamping platform. And what we're going to do is go ahead and go in and add just a little bit more color to it now that we've got everything stamped in place where we want it to be. So that looks really nice. So I'm going to start out with the Wilted Violet again. And what I'm going to do is just really kind of start to bring out that purple color. I really want to go ahead and make it stand out a little bit darker now. But what I want to do is kind of go back in where it's kind of emphasized around my trees. So we're going to go ahead and just find some spots that we really think it would be great to emphasize the purple. Even though some of our spots didn't start out as high up into the trees, we can go ahead and spread it out now to just give that effect that we're really looking for. And we can even kind of just do a light brushing around. We're not wanting a whole lot of color over the top of some of these places, but we do want to blend it all together so that it doesn't look too terribly splotchy. So we'll take some of this and spread it out just a little bit more so that the colors look connected. Maybe a little bit more up here into the words. So just play around with it until you kind of get the look that you really want to have. All right. I think I might get just a little bit more over here. And then we will actually go ahead and get some of our chipped sapphire out and add some of that as well. And by adding these extra layers on, it just gives us a little bit more depth and deepness of color. So I'm really going to do a lot of darkening up especially where the trees are kind of there, so it kind of looks like it's a nice shadowy look in those where those trees are. And again, if you want to just lightly brush just a little bit over it once you don't have as much ink on there, that just kind of helps the colors to blend together. Sometimes it's harder to see on the video, but I'll take a picture and post it at the end of this video of the finished product, and you'll be able to see how lovely it is and how it blends in just really great. All right. So now I think we're ready to go ahead and put our card together. So, since I have gone ahead and put some ink there, I am going to go ahead and clean it up so that we don't get our base card all messed up with ink that might be laying on the tape on the surface, because you can see how much is on there just from the little bit of going over the edge that we've done. All right. So now we're going to take our frame piece of cardstock. I've chosen to use a purple that blends and matches with the purple that's in our card. And then we're going to take our adhesive running tape and just go along the edges. And then mount that onto our frame piece. Make sure it's nice and lined up. There we go. And then we will take our card base and do the same thing again. Get that lined up. And there's our finished card. So the great thing about this is that this project doesn't take very long. You don't have to have that many supplies. You can use any of the inks that you have on hand to create the color of your sky. These are the ones that I chose. I really like the way that they turn out. And so just hope you have fun with this. So I want to thank you so much for watching my video tutorial today. I hope you will enjoy making the simple yet gorgeous card. And this card can be used for any occasion. All you have to do is just change out the sentiment. Anyway, I hope you give it a try. And remember to check out more tutorials on the design team page at delbellosdesigns.com. Have a great day.